Welcome to United Daily Updates, your most trusted source for Manchester United news. Hello everyone and welcome back to United Daily Updates, the best place on the internet for everything Manchester United. If you have not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that right now because we bring you the latest news, match reactions, manager quotes, and everything else you need to know about the Red Devils every single day. We work incredibly hard to be your most reliable and trusted source for all things Manchester United. We never spread fake rumors or sensational headlines just for clicks. We give you real information and genuine opinions that you can count on. Now let's get into today's fantastic story about Manchester United's victory over Wolves and what Ruben Amorim had to say afterwards. Introduction. Finally, United did what they were supposed to do. Imagine the relief. Imagine the weight lifting off your shoulders. You are Ruben Amorim, the Manchester United manager under enormous pressure. Your job security has been questioned. There have been reports linking other managers to your position. You absolutely had to beat the worst team in the Premier League. Anything less than victory would have been a disaster that might have cost you your job. And then your team goes out and delivers. Manchester United beat Wolverhampton Wanderers 4-1 at Molineux on Monday night. 4 goals. A comfortable victory. 3 points secured. The pressure valve released, at least temporarily. This was exactly what United needed. This was what everyone expected and demanded. And finally, United delivered. But this was not just about the result. It was about the performance. It was about how United played. It was about individuals stepping up and showing their quality. And one player in particular caught the eye and earned special praise from his manager afterwards. Mason Mount scored a goal and put in an impressive performance. After the match, Ruben Amorim heaped praise on the midfielder, saying it was not a surprise to him that Mount was playing well. Amorim talked about Mount's quality, his leadership, and why he is so important to Manchester United. These comments reveal a lot about what Amorim values in players and why he rates Mount so highly. In this detailed blog post, we are going to break down Manchester United's victory over Wolves. We will look at how the match unfolded and what the key moments were. We will focus on Mason Mount's performance and why Amorim praised him so heavily. We will examine what Amorim's comments reveal about his thinking and his plans for United. And we will discuss what this victory means for United going forward and whether it represents a turning point in their season. This was a huge result for Manchester United. After weeks of inconsistency and dropped points, they finally did what they should do and beat a team they were expected to beat. The question now is whether they can build on this and start putting together the kind of consistent form that gets you into the top 4. Let's dive deep into every aspect of this important victory. How the match unfolded. Before we focus on Mason Mount and what Amorim said about him, let's look at how the match itself played out. What happened during the 90 minutes at Molineux? How did United get their 4-1 victory? A nervy start. Manchester United went into this match as heavy favourites. The report confirms they were expected to win against the Premier League's bottom side, who had claimed just 2 points all season. Everyone expected United to dominate from start to finish and win comfortably. But football does not always go according to plan. The first 25 minutes were probably quite nervy for United fans. When you are the overwhelming favourite, there is always pressure. You know you should win, but you also know that if you do not, it will be a disaster. United probably started cautiously, not wanting to make mistakes that could give Wolves confidence. But in the 25th minute, United got the goal they needed. Bruno Fernandes scored to put United 1-0 up. The report describes the goal coming after some comical defending from Wolves. This suggests it was not a brilliant piece of United play but rather Wolves making mistakes that United took advantage of. Getting that first goal was crucial. It settled United's nerves. It gave them something to protect but also encouraged them to go for more. It put Wolves on the back foot and forced them to come out and attack if they wanted to get anything from the match. Everything seemed to be going according to plan. The shock equaliser. But then Wolves did something they had not done in 5 games. They scored. Jean-Rickner Bellegarde equalised for Wolves before half-time. The report tells us the home side had not scored for 5 games but they broke their duck with this goal from Bellegarde. This must have been a nervous moment for Manchester United. Going into half-time at 1-1 rather than being comfortably ahead would have created doubt and tension. Wolves would have been buoyed by getting back into the game. United would have been frustrated at throwing away their lead. For Ruben Amorim, this must have been concerning. Memories of the West Ham match where United threw away a lead would have been fresh in everyone's minds. Was this going to be another game where United failed to close out a victory? Would they drop more points to a team they should be beating easily? The halftime team talk would have been crucial. Amorim needed to keep his players calm and confident. He needed to remind them that they were still the better team and that if they kept playing well in the second half, the goals would come. No panic. No negative thoughts. Just focus on the game plan and trust in the quality of the players. The second half domination. Fortunately for Manchester United and Ruben Amorim, the second half went much better. The report tells us that Wolves were unable to build on their equaliser. United were gifted space in the final third and took advantage. This is the key phrase. United were given space and they used it intelligently. When teams are struggling like Wolves, they often cannot maintain their intensity for a full 90 minutes. The first half effort of getting back into the game probably took a lot out of Wolves physically and mentally. In the second half, they tired. Spaces opened up. And United had the quality to exploit those spaces. United scored 3 more goals in the second half to win 4-1. Mason Mount got one of those goals. Bryan Mbeumo, who has been United's top scorer this season, also scored. And Bruno Fernandes added a penalty to complete his brace. 4 goals from 4 different situations shows United were creating chances in multiple ways. This was a kind of ruthless finishing that United have been lacking. Against Wolves, when opportunities came, United took them. They did not waste chances. They did not overthink things. They just scored goals and killed the game off properly. This is what top teams do to struggling opponents. The final scoreline. 4-1 is a very satisfying scoreline for Manchester United. It shows dominance. It shows they scored plenty of goals. It improves their goal difference, which could be important at the end of the season. And it gives everyone associated with the club a boost of confidence and positivity. Yes, United conceded a goal they probably should not have. The defense still has issues to work on. But scoring 4 goals away from home against any Premier League team is a good achievement. It shows the attacking players are finding their rhythm and starting to click together. For the fans who travelled to Molineux and the millions watching around the world, this was a relief. Finally, United did what they were supposed to do. They beat a terrible team convincingly. They scored goals. They entertained. This is what supporting Manchester United should feel like. Winning matches and enjoying watching your team play well. Mason Mount's performance. Now let's focus on the player who earned special praise from Ruben Amorim. Mason Mount had an excellent game against Wolves. He scored a goal and his overall play impressed. Let's look at what made his performance so good. The goal. Mason Mount got on the scoresheet with one of United's second-half goals. Scoring goals is the most obvious way for an attacking player to make an impact. When you score, it helps your team win and it builds your own confidence. For Mount specifically, goals have been hard to come by since he joined Manchester United. He has struggled with injuries and inconsistent form. He has not been the player Chelsea fans remembered when United signed him. So every goal matters for Mount as he tries to establish himself at Old Trafford. Getting a goal against Wolves will help Mount's confidence enormously. He will have gone into the match determined to make an impact and prove his worth to the manager. Scoring achieves that objective. It shows he can contribute goals. It justifies his place in the team. And it gives him momentum going into future matches. The overall play. But Amorim's praise was not just about the goal. He talked about Mount's overall quality and contribution. When Amorim was asked whether Mount was now delivering consistently strong performances, his response revealed what he values about the midfielder. Amorim mentioned Mount's quality when he touches the ball. This is about technical ability. Mount is a player who is comfortable receiving the ball in tight spaces. He can control it cleanly. He can make good decisions about what to do next. His first touch and passing are high quality. These technical skills are crucial in modern football. Amorim also mentioned that Mount can defend and attack. This versatility is valuable. Mount is not just an attacking player who contributes nothing when United do not have the ball. He works hard defensively. He tracks back. He presses opponents. He does the dirty work that top teams need from all their players. This two-way contribution makes Mount very useful for a manager like Amorim who wants his team to be aggressive and press high. If Mount can attack and create chances but also defend and win the ball back, he becomes a complete midfielder who can play in Amorim's system effectively. The comparison to Chelsea. Amorim made an interesting comment about Mount's style of play. He said if you compare what United do now to Mount's past at Chelsea, Chelsea play the same way. This suggests that Mount fits naturally into Amorim's system because it is similar to what he did at Chelsea. This makes sense when you think about it. Mount was excellent at Chelsea under managers like Thomas Tuchel and Frank Lampard. He played in systems that required him to press, work hard, and contribute at both ends. He was not just a luxury player who only did attacking work. He was a complete midfielder. Now at United, Amorim is asking him to do similar things. The system might be slightly different, but the fundamental requirements are the same. Work hard, press intelligently, contribute defensively, and create and score goals going forward. Mount has done all of this before, so he knows how to do it. This is why Amorim said Mount's good performances are not a surprise to him. The manager clearly understood when he selected Mount that the player had the qualities to succeed in this system. Mount just needed opportunities and confidence to show those qualities. Against Wolves, he did exactly that. What Amorim said about Mount. Ruben Amorim's post-match comments about Mason Mount were revealing. Let's break down exactly what he said and what it tells us about how he views the player. Quality and consistency. When asked if Mount was delivering consistently strong performances, Amorim's full response was very telling. He said Mount has great quality and that when Mount touches the ball it is really good. This is high praise from a manager who does not give compliments lightly. But Amorim also added that he needs to take care of Mount and sometimes protect him in training and games. This is an interesting comment that reveals Amorim's thinking. He recognizes Mount's quality, but he also knows the player has had injury problems. Mount needs to be managed carefully to keep him fit and available. This is smart squad management. You cannot just play your best players in every match and run them into the ground. You need to rotate. You need to rest players when necessary. You need to protect them in training so they do not get injured. Amorim clearly understands this and is trying to manage Mount's workload intelligently. Amorim then made a comparison to Luke Shaw. He said when you build with Mount, the same thing will happen as with Shaw. He will become really important for the club. This suggests Amorim sees Mount as a player who will get better and better as he gets more games and builds fitness and confidence. Just like Shaw has been important when fit, Mount can become crucial to United's plans. A different type of leader. Amorim was also asked whether Mount was setting an example for other players. His answer revealed something interesting about Mount's personality and leadership style. Amorim said Mount is a different type of leader compared to someone like Lisandro Martinez. He said Mount is a guy that leads by example. It does not matter the situation, Mount is always the same thing. This consistency in behavior and approach is valuable in a squad. Some players are vocal leaders. They shout and organize and demand things from teammates. Lisandro Martinez is apparently this type of leader. But Mount is different. He leads through his actions and his professionalism. He shows up every day. He trains hard. He treats people well. He does his job consistently. This quiet leadership by example can be just as important as vocal leadership. Amorim went into more detail about this. He said Mount is always the same in training, in talking, in dealing with people around Carrington. He said that is not easy. This suggests Mount has a level of professionalism and emotional stability that Amorim values highly. In a squad full of big personalities and egos, having players who are consistently professional and positive is crucial. These players create a good atmosphere. They set standards for others to follow. They do not cause drama or problems. Mount appears to be one of these steady, reliable characters who helps create a positive environment. Amorim finished this section by calling Mount a very, very good player. The repetition of very shows how highly he rates him. This is not faint praise. This is a manager making clear that he thinks Mount is an excellent player who will be important for Manchester United. Why Mount doesn't always start. Amorim was also asked to explain why Mount has not started every game if he rates him so highly. This is a fair question. If Mount is so good and so important, why is he sometimes on the bench? Amorim's answer revealed his tactical thinking. He said sometimes it is a tactical issue. When you play with a striker or when Matheus Cunha goes into certain positions, it changes whether Mount fits the starting 11. This shows Amorim is thinking carefully about how his team sets up and which players suit which tactical approaches. Amorim also mentioned again that sometimes United need to protect Mount. This goes back to the injury concerns and workload management. Even if Mount is fit enough to play, Amorim might choose to rest him in some matches to keep him fresh for others. This is sensible squad management over a long season. What is clear from these comments is that Amorim values Mount highly. He sees him as an important player who will play many matches. But Amorim is also being smart about when and how he uses Mount to get the best out of him over the whole season rather than burning him out early. What this tells us about Amorim's approach. Ruben Amorim's comments about Mason Mount reveal a lot about how he thinks as a manager and what he values in players. Let's analyze what we can learn from these quotes. Values technical quality. Amorim's emphasis on Mount's quality when he touches the ball shows that technical ability is very important to him. He wants players who are comfortable on the ball. Players who can receive passes cleanly, make good decisions, and execute skills properly. Mount has these qualities, which is why Amorim rates him. This makes sense for the kind of football Amorim wants United to play. If you want to dominate possession and play through opponents, You need technically good players throughout the team. One technically weak player can break down your entire attacking flow. So Amorim prioritizes technical quality in his selections. This is good news for United fans who want to see attractive, technical football. It suggests Amorim will build a team of players who can pass, move, and create. The football might not always be successful, but it should at least be pleasant to watch when it works. Appreciates two-way players. Amorim's comment about Mount being able to defend and attack shows he values players who contribute at both ends. This is becoming more and more important in modern football. Managers want players who can do multiple jobs rather than specialists who only do one thing. For attacking midfielders and forwards especially, defensive contribution is crucial. Top teams press high and try to win the ball back quickly. If your attacking players do not work hard defensively, this press does not work. You become easy to play through. Mount's willingness to defend makes him valuable in Amorim's system. This is also why players like Kobbie Mainoo struggle to get game time. If Amorim does not think they work hard enough defensively or fit his pressing system, they will not play regardless of their attacking quality. Amorim wants complete players who do everything. Focuses on squad management. Amorim's repeated mentions of needing to protect Mount and manage his workload show he is thinking carefully about squad management. He is not just picking his best team for each match in isolation. He is thinking about the whole season and keeping players fit and fresh. This is mature management. Younger or less experienced managers sometimes just play their best players in every match until they get injured or burn out. Then they wonder why their team falls apart in the second half of the season. Amorim is trying to avoid this trap by rotating and protecting players proactively. However, this approach can also frustrate fans who just want to see the best team every week. When Mount is rested for a match and United struggle, fans will question why he was not playing. Amorim needs to get the balance right between squad management and picking strong teams. Values character and professionalism. Finally, Amorim's comments about Mount's leadership and consistent professionalism show he values character highly. Technical ability is important, but so is the person's attitude and behavior. Mount apparently has the right character, which is why Amorim praises him so heavily. This focus on character is important at Manchester United, where there have been problems with player attitudes in recent years. Some players have not shown the right commitment or professionalism. Having players like Mount who set good examples can help change the culture. Amorim seems to be trying to build a squad not just of talented players but of good professionals who work hard and behave properly. This takes time, but if he can create the right culture in the dressing room, it will make everything else easier. What this victory means for Manchester United. Now let's think about the bigger picture. Manchester United beat Wolves 4-1. What does this result actually mean for the club? Is it just 3 points, or is it something more significant? Relief and validation. The most obvious meaning is relief. United were under enormous pressure heading into this match. They had dropped points against West Ham. Amorim's job was being questioned. Losing or drawing against the worst team in the league would have been catastrophic. So winning 4-1 brings massive relief. The pressure valve has been released. Amorim has breathing room. The players can relax a bit. The fans are happier. Everything feels better after convincing victory. There is also validation. All the talk before the match was about whether United could be trusted to beat Wolves. Many fans were genuinely worried United would mess it up. The 4-1 victory validates that United do have quality and can perform when they need to. Confidence boost. Beyond relief, this victory should provide a real confidence boost. Winning 4-1 away from home is a good achievement. Scoring 4 goals is excellent. For attacking players especially, getting goals builds belief that they can score more in future matches. Mason Mount will be more confident after scoring and playing well. Bryan Mbeumo continues his good goal-scoring form. Bruno Fernandes got 2 goals. These players will go into the next match believing they can score. This positive mentality often becomes self-fulfilling. For Ruben Amorim, this result vindicates his selections and tactics. He picked a team and they won convincingly. This gives him confidence in his own judgment. When he makes similar decisions in future, he can point to the Wolves match as proof that his approach works. A potential turning point. The question now is whether this victory represents a turning point in Manchester United's season. Can they build on this and start putting together a run of wins? Or will they revert to inconsistency and drop points in the next match? This is the challenge for Amorim and his players. Beating Wolves was necessary but not sufficient. They need to follow it up with more victories. They need to show consistency. They need to prove that the Wolves result was not a one-off but the start of something better. If United can win their next few matches and climb the table, then we can look back at the Wolves game as the moment things clicked. But if they lose or draw in the next match, then the Wolves' victory will be remembered as just another false dawn in a season of disappointment. Still work to do. We also need to keep perspective. Yes, United won 4-1, which is great. But they were playing the worst team in the Premier League. Wolves had 0 wins before this match. United were expected to win comfortably. Doing what you are supposed to do against a terrible team is the bare minimum, not some great achievement. United still conceded a goal they should not have. The defense still has problems. The inconsistency issues have not magically disappeared. There is still a long way to go before United are back to being a top team competing for major trophies. But you have to start somewhere. You have to build momentum. And you do that by winning matches like this one against Wolves. Then you win the next one. And the next one. Before you know it, you have put together a good run and everything looks better. What comes next for United? So Manchester United have beaten Wolves 4-1. Mason Mount has been praised by his manager. Confidence should be higher. But what comes next? What are the challenges ahead? The busy Christmas period. United are now heading into the busy Christmas period where fixtures come thick and fast. Lots of matches in a short time. Little time to rest between games. This is where squad depth and rotation become crucial. Amorim's comments about managing Mount's workload and protecting players will become even more important now. He will need to rotate his squad intelligently. Some players will play one match and be rested for the next. Fresh legs will be crucial to maintaining performance levels. This is where having players like Mount who can come in and perform when needed is so valuable. Amorim can rest him in some matches knowing that when Mount does play, he will deliver quality. This kind of reliable depth is what allows teams to navigate busy periods successfully. Building consistency. The biggest challenge for United remains building consistency. One good result is nice, but it means nothing if the next result is bad. United need to string together multiple wins. They need to show they can beat not just the bottom team but also mid-table teams and eventually the top teams. This is about mentality as much as quality. United have the players to beat most teams. But do they have the mental strength and consistency to do it week after week? Or will they have another performance like the West Ham draw where they throw away points unnecessarily? Amorim needs to keep working on this mentality issue. He needs players who believe they will win every match. Players who do not panic when things go wrong. Players who can handle pressure. Building this kind of mentality takes time, but it is essential for success. The transfer window. The January transfer window is approaching. United will be considering whether to sign new players to strengthen the squad. The Wolves' victory might influence their thinking about what is needed. If United keep winning and climbing the table, maybe they decide they do not need major signings in January. Maybe they feel the current squad is good enough if everyone stays fit and plays to their potential. But if results dip again, pressure will grow to bring in reinforcements. We know from previous reports that United are interested in midfielders like Conor Gallagher and others. Whether they actually make moves in January remains to be seen. But the Wolves' result at least buys the club and manager some time to assess properly rather than panic buying. Individual player futures. The Wolves match and Amorim's comments also have implications for individual players. Mason Mount's strong performance and the manager's praise strengthen his position at the club. He is clearly valued and will play regularly going forward. But what about players who did not play against Wolves or who are not featuring regularly? Kobbie Mainoo remains on the fringes. Other players are not getting opportunities. These players will be watching Mount's success and wondering if they will ever get similar chances. January could see some players leaving if they are not happy with their situation. This is both an opportunity and a risk for United. Moving on players who are not contributing frees up space and wages. But losing quality depth weakens the squad. Amorim needs to manage these situations carefully. Conclusion. A good night for United and Mount. We have covered an enormous amount of ground in this blog post about Manchester United's victory over Wolves and Ruben Amorim's praise for Mason Mount. We have looked at how the match unfolded, what made Mount's performance so good, what Amorim's comments reveal, and what this all means going forward. The bottom line is this. Manchester United finally did what they were supposed to do. They beat the worst team in the Premier League convincingly. They scored 4 goals. They got 3 points. And they gave everyone associated with the club a reason to smile. Mason Mount was one of the standout performers. He scored a goal and showed the quality that made United sign him from Chelsea. Ruben Amorim heaped praise on him after the match, making clear that Mount is valued and will be important for United's future. This is exactly what Mount needed to hear as he tries to establish himself at Old Trafford. For Amorim, this victory eases the pressure temporarily. He showed he can pick a team that wins convincingly. His praise for Mount reveals what he values in players: technical quality, two-way contribution, character, and professionalism. These are the building blocks he is trying to use to create a successful Manchester United team. The challenge now is building on this victory. One good result changes nothing if it is followed by bad results. United need consistency. They need to win again in their next match and keep winning. Only then can we say that the Wolves' victory was a genuine turning point rather than just another brief moment of happiness in a disappointing season. Final thoughts and outro. Thank you so much for reading this comprehensive analysis of Manchester United's victory over Wolves and what Ruben Amorim said about Mason Mount. I hope you found this blog post informative and helpful in understanding what happened and what it means. If you enjoyed this content, please make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel United Daily Updates. We bring you post-match analysis, manager quotes, player reactions, and everything else you need to know about Manchester United every single day. We work hard to provide detailed insights that help you understand the team. Please hit that like button if you found this blog post valuable. Turn on notifications so you never miss our content. And share this with other United fans who want to understand what is happening at their club. I would love to hear your thoughts on this victory and on Mason Mount's performance. Are you happy with the 4-1 win? Do you think Mount is finally showing his quality? What did you make of Amorim's praise for him? And can United build on this, or will they revert to inconsistency in the next match? Leave your comments and let's discuss. Make sure you check back for our preview of United's next match. We will discuss the team selection, the tactics, and what United need to do to keep this positive momentum going. Until next time, stay loyal to the Red Devils, keep believing in the team, and let's hope this victory is the start of a good run that gets United back into the top 4. Come on, United! Until next time, stay loyal to the Red Devils, keep demanding the high standards that Manchester United should have, and let's hope for a convincing victory on Monday night that shows this team can finally beat a team they should be beating. Come on, United!